GOP Representative Ogles introduced impeachment articles against Biden-Harris. Representative Andy Ogles' impeachment articles come as Biden faces a special counsel investigation into his handling of classified documents after leaving the vice presidency. Tennessee Republican Representative Andy Ogles introduced articles of impeachment on Monday against President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. Ogles' articles accuse Biden of having weaponized the presidency both in his tenure as president and vice president to shield the business and influence peddling schemes of his family from congressional oversight and public accountability. Additionally, the articles accuse Biden of acting in a manner contrary to the public trust and subversive of constitutional government, to the great prejudice of the cause of law and justice, and to the manifest injury of the people of the United States with his handling of the southern border crisis. Ogles' effort will likely face an uphill climb in the House, where a small minority of Republicans have pushed for Biden's impeachment. Harris' impeachment articles take aim at her track records as vice president as well as her handling of the southern border crisis, accusing the vice president of having extraordinary incompetency in the execution of her duties and responsibilities, and indifference to Americans suffering as a result of America's ongoing southern border crisis. Joe Biden has just failed the American people with his abysmal excuse for leadership. He has violated his sworn oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, Ogles told Fox News Digital. Joe Biden has repeatedly abused his position of power, both as vice president and president, to cover up his illicit family business dealings and exploitation of taxpayer resources, the Tennessee Republican continued. The American people know they can't depend on the so-called Department of Justice to investigate the Biden's family corruption, and so it's up to the U.S. Congress to hold him accountable once and for all, Ogles added. Ogles said Biden is a disgrace to the Oval Office and should be stripped of his position and held responsible for his highest crimes against the United States, and that his accomplice, Harris, has demonstrated her extraordinary incompetence time and again. She has allowed the land invasion at our southern border to continue unchecked, threatening the livelihoods of the millions and the lives of thousands who have been murdered at the hands of illegal aliens and died from illicit fentanyl, Ogles said. Specifically, Biden articles accuse him of having failed to comply with congressional requests for information and documentation, violating a personal commitment to transparency. Additionally, the articles also accuse the president of holding a critical FD 1023 form until threatened with a congressional subpoena that reportedly details a bribery scheme in which members of the Biden family, including Joseph Robinette Biden, received $5 million each to assist in Burisma Holdings, the Ukraine company of which Hunter Biden sat on the board. In her impeachment articles, Harris is accused of having consistently refused to visit the southern border to ascertain the root causes of the ongoing crisis, aside from a single trip hundreds of miles away from the epicenter of the migrant crisis, in permitting an invasion of illegal aliens and illicit drugs into the United States, as well as facilitating the execution of a major humanitarian crisis. Vice President Kamala Harris, David Harris, has directly betrayed the public trust of the United States to the manifest injury of the people of the United States, the articles read. Ogles' impeachment articles come as Biden faces a special counsel investigation into his handling of classified documents after leaving the vice presidency in 2017. The White House did not immediately give comment on the impeachment articles.